up? What's up? Welcome back to the show. I'm Bruno here with Pedro and Scott. What's going on, guys?
What's up, everyone? Excited for this episode?
You're excited for this episode?
Yeah, you guys know Aliens is one of my favorite franchises.
Scott?
I actually scheduled this to record even before you brought it up because this was on regular FX. So I went, oh, wait, I scheduled that to record 2 weeks ago because it seemed like an interesting plotted storyline. So I was like, all right, I'll just watch my recording.
Pulled out the old TiVo. Yeah,
Scott,
today we're gonna.
You believe in aliens, Scott?
Oh,
I thought we're keeping this a short episse. We don't have time.
I'm just curious who believes what's out there or not.
Apparently people who make
Scott,
movies.
He's on the defense right now.
Apparently, people who make movies and television believe in them because every time you watch a different show with aliens, they all look different. So I've not seen it for myself, but I've seen plenty of.
What about UFOs? Do you believe in UFOs?
I don't know. I've not seen one, so I cannot confirm or deny that one exists.
Well, they do. UFOs technically exist because they're just something in the sky that you can't really identify, right?
But someone has identified it because they've seen it. So they say, oh, they've labeled it as a UFO. But look, as long as it doesn't fall from the sky and hurt anybody, it can, fly as much as it wants. As long as it's not Balloon Boy.
Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Do I believe in Bigfoot? I believe that people think that one exists, and as long as the foot doesn't near me, I'm good.
Scott, no opinions from Scott whatsoever. This dude is a chest.
So even after all the happenings, December and January in New Jersey with all the UFOs, you still not convinced?
All I know is they somehow magically disappeared, randomly after 2 or 3 months, and everyone moved on, and no one decided to say why they existed, and they're gone.
Fair enough. Factually, that happened.
So you're going to sweep it under the rug like the administration, okay?
I'm not sweeping underneath the rug. I just know that they just happened to all of a sudden come about and then disappeared. But I do think there's a legitimate reason to happen. It's just there are certain entities or people who don't want to bring it up.
But it wasn't aliens to you.
I don't think so because I don't think there's anything that exciting to see here. As far as after
in New Jersey.
No.
On Earth?
I think there's nothing interesting to see. After a while, if you're in an airplane, looking down looks real old, and you just see flying and flying and flying. I don't really know what it's about. I thought it was very suspicious, but I don't.
New Jersey is actually the place with the most UFO sightings in the country. Did you know that? New Jersey?
Where's that source cited?
I just saw it in something I was watching. I've been on a UFO binge recently.
Sounds like with all these questions, is that because of watching Alien Earth?
They're coming down to Earth.
Been watching a couple things.
YouTube rabbit hole?
YouTube rabbit hole.
Speaking of coming down to Earth, I watched WWE Uncut on Netflix. I was not at
You mean Unreal?
It's uncut and Unreal.
Sure is.
Yes, Unreal. I found it interesting to watch the 5-episode series, and there is going to be new episodes coming about next year. Just seeing this behind the scenes look at what it's like to produce a WWE event. They showed you just enough to at least for me, to keep me interested in learning about it, but it did not hook me to watch every single match and every single event because it's a lot of work to watch them all. But I do see why people are so immersed in it.
Did it at least hook you to be interested in John Cena's retirement run?
it hooked me into being interested to see how it transpired for them to create that storyline. I will want to watch the next season to see what it's like. But no, it didn't make me want to watch his 11 appearances to his last appearance.
You're more of a production behind the scenes. Let me see how it works, kind of. Is that what? That's probably what you find more interesting.
That's what led me to jump into this. But
yeah, fair enough.
But I was cheering. I was cheering them on within the documentary.
But is the point of view of that show like constantly from backstage?
No, they're showing front stage of the matches playing out, and also incorporating reactions from backstage as well.
They're showing you the B cam. Okay. So they do show the wrestling, but it's not the main camera that's televised.
No, they're showing footage from the documentary. They're not showing they're showing other cameras' perspective. They're not necessarily showing the WWE.
That's what I mean.
It seems like Netflix was roaming around with like a B cam during a bunch of these events.
And then do they like intercut like the technical directors and they intercut the writers' room?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
It's produced it's interesting because it's produced by Peyton Manning and NFL Films.
I would love if they did this in like 1997 through like 2004 or something. I would be so hyped because back then I was like on the blogs and the wrestling channels online, just websites back then, but like reading up all the spoilers and all the business side of things.
The dirt sheets were huge.
Yeah. I forgot what the website I used to go to was called, but it'd be like daily, bro. Anyway, we're gonna talk about Smoke season finale, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Alien Earth, which just dropped on Hulu. Let's get right into it. I want to keep this one snappy. Alien Earth, Pedro, you've been hyped. I've been hyped. Scott, you set your TiVo. You've been hyped.
Just to be clear, there was no TiVo involved in the recording of the show.
Okay. DVR? Something. VCR?
That works. No VCR, DVR. Generic terminology.
Initial reactions on the show, Alien? Pedro?
Man, my initial reaction was what a huge production, man, for a TV show. They really like went all in on this. Ridley Scott is executive producer. So I think they trusted him with the project, and the director, Noah Hawley, is I think he has Ridley's like full backing on this.
Yep.
And then I believe, I'll double check while we're talking about it, but I believe the budget was $250 million for this show, which is like more than a lot of movies. They're going all in on this, and the teasers and everything leading up to it, the trailers all look great, so I was super excited for the premiere. I can't remember the last time I watched like something like the day of air premiering,
Scott, initial reaction?
I liked the pacing of it. It wasn't like alien in your face instantly.
Well, yeah.
So that's what led me to not go, that's disgusting right out of the gate. Good character, forming as far as getting to know the different characters as much as possible.
A lot of characters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought the opening 25 minutes maybe was literally like Alien 1 from like 1979 it literally felt like that. I said that in the group chat text.
I love how they did that.
Even like their faces, their facial hair, their clothing, even like the filter on the lens or the post-production sort of filter felt aged like the right way. I love that too. I was like, oh, this is really nice. I feel very comfortable in this right now. And then it kind of changed when they cut to Earth, but still look aesthetically really good. I really liked it. It's a lot of characters. It opens with a spaceship traveling back to Earth. and then it cuts to Earth where there's like a tech billionaire running like a little, I guess
The
his
boy
company.
genius, as they call him, the boy genius.
Yeah, the boy genius, who's like the Zuckerberg, Elon Musk bro of the show. He basically takes children who are dying and transplants them to like this symbiotic body. Symbiotic, the right word? It's like half android, half human, I think.
Hybrids was what they called them.
Hybrids, yeah. For what purpose, we don't really know. They live forever. There's a lot of references to Wendy and the Lost Boys and Peter Pan, very literal references. At first, it's kind of less direct, but then it becomes just very literal. And then, sorry, go ahead, Scott.
At first, I then went, wait, how are they using that? And then I, of course, went, of course, it's produced by Disney, Hulu, and that's, of course, they.
Oh, Scott pulled up the rights issues. About to get a lawyer.
No.
Yeah.
No. I wonder, wait, how are they doing it? And then I, of course, right away went, oh yes, it's a Disney production, so they're just doing product placement of themselves.
Yeah, and you're talking about they show scenes from Peter Pan.
Yes, they showed Peter Pan, and I thought they showed some other movie, or maybe it was just Peter Pan.
I think it was just Peter Pan.
Yeah.
There's the scene with Wendy.
Yeah.
I don't know if Peter's actually in it. And yeah, so the spaceship is traveling to Earth. So it does something cool where it kind of jumps forward in time. The aliens that are on the ship, because the ship was sent out to collect these specimens, they eventually get out, crashes into Earth, and then some of these hybrids volunteer to go investigate the crime. That's kind of the setup for the season. There's a lot of moving parts. I've only seen episode 1. Pedro, you've seen more of that.
Yeah.
Is the story working for you?
Yeah, definitely working for me. Just to clarify, it takes place approximately 2 years before Alien, the first movie.
The original.
Yes. So I think that's what they were trying to do with sort of the opening scene, is like stylistically match it to the first movie, where it's kind of like it's the future, but it's like old tech in the future, if you want to call it that. It had kind of like that retro look to it.
Yeah.
The way they dressed, just the way they were like laying in their pods and stuff. But yeah, I think episode 1 is a great introduction to this world and what's going on. It seems like the boy genius, from what we understand so far, he's in charge of like this sort of district or this part of the world. And we already know that Wayland and Yutani, who are the company that send all these space missions out throughout the Alien movies, are also around. And they're it seems like a future where corporations own like districts or like huge parts of like countries in the world, and they kind of each have their own territory, and this spaceship sort of accidentally lands in this boy genius's territory.
And I think thematically, if I remember correctly, the setup is like they define like these different types of life forms, hybrids, as you said. Synths is another one, and then cyborgs. And each one of these big corporations is focused on producing one of these technologies, and it's set up as like whichever technology wins is going to ultimately like rule the world. I don't know, that sounds like corny to say even out loud, but that's kind of the idea, I think. And it challenges, or it plays with the idea of like, what is life? Is life like having a human body and a soul and a mind, or is it just having a mind and you can be inside of a computer or a robot? It plays a lot with that idea. I don't know the role yet where like the aliens are going to come into it. But one thing I really liked is they have different kinds of aliens or different kinds of creatures. There's like the iconic alien, obviously, but they also have like these little bugs that suck your neck. They have like these little eyeball guys. Yeah, they got a couple of they have the classic like face huggers in there too. I saw those guys, but It's like a laboratory full
Little-
of different creatures.
Little refresher with new-
Boy,
new
does that
features.
certainly give you a lovely painted picture, I must say. Just
What,
listen to
eyeballs
that.
and face huggers?
Oh yeah, wonderful. Keep
What
going.
did you, Scott? What did you think of? There was a scene in the first episode where two soldiers are sort of tied up, and a bug lands on their head, and they can't really do anything about it. Is that something that grosses you out? Do you have to sort of close your eyes?
Well, there was certainly something I could do about it. Look the other
Just-
way.
It wasn't that bad.
Oh come
Yeah,
on.
I squirmed. I'm not
When
gonna lie.
when I saw that little creature just like fall on that guy's back, I'm like, yeah, I know where that's gonna go.
Yeah, I love it, man.
Saw that coming.
I love that it's not just like alien versus fill in the blank in like a spaceship or on a planet or on a laboratory or whatever. It's much bigger than that, which is honestly is one of my concerns going into the series. Like, what can they do with a TV series? You know, it's a different format for this movie, or for the show and the characters. How is it going to play where the creature is just on Earth, which is massive, versus again like somewhere contained? Usually it's somewhere contained. So I'm curious how they're going to manage that.
Still going to be contained, just not in a spaceship, but like in this sort of district that's under Cavalier's control. So we don't know if it's going to be worldwide yet, and you know, I don't think they're going to take it that far. I'm assuming it's just going to stay in that sort of district. But I think it's cool that they're giving us like the action, the gore, you know, the stuff to bring people in for that, but they're also giving you like something deeper to think about, deeper meaning with these hybrids and these different types of AI, I guess, technology that exists in this world, and you know what it is to be human or what it is to be alive. So I like that they have both these things going on at the same time, a little something for everyone.
Yeah, I like that too. I was initially hesitant on that because I just felt it was too big and easily can be messed up, or you know, you can drop the ball on something like that. But so far it's really good. The show looks really polished. It's really well written. I didn't see anything in there where I was like, oh, that's cheesy, or like character wouldn't make that decision or say that kind of thing. One of the main characters is actually called Wendy from Peter Pan, and she has like a human brother who she's kind of going after, trying to reconnect with him. So that's one of the main threads. And then you have what's this guy's name? The cyborg, Morrow, I think his name is. He is like a security officer who is working for a different corporation, and he's just about protecting the alien life forms that they were sent out to capture and bring back. So there's a lot of different threads being pulled, but in the first episode, they all kind of collide in that crash site. By the way, that crash site, speaking to the budget, there was a shot with one of the characters like walking next to the spaceship and looking up, and it's just this massive skyscraper looking thing that just crashed on Earth. And in previous films, we're always inside the spacecraft, or the spacecraft is like in the distance, so you don't get a sense of scale. But they do a great job in giving you a sense of scale, how big these things really are, and the damage that it caused when it crashed on Earth is pretty sick.
What did you guys think about I think the most well-known actor in this is Timothy Oliphant.
Yeah.
His own version of is he a cyborg in this, or
Yeah, he is, right?
he's a synth? He's a synth. So
He's a
there's
synth.
three. There's cyborg, synths, and hybrids. Synths are artificial intelligent beings. That's what we've seen throughout the Alien movies. And then cyborgs are like kind of like what Morrow is, where he kind of just has like an arm or something he's an enhanced human. And then hybrids were also introduced in this. But yeah, I thought he was great. I thought he like grounded all the characters together. He's like a good anchor for everyone. Obviously, like the most well-known actor, but
Yeah.
also because of like the rest of the crew that they sent to go investigate this crash site are all like 11, 12-year-olds in these adult bodies. So,
That's true. Yeah.
you know, he's like the adult, if you want to put it that way, that grounds everything together.
Yeah, he's like the paternal figure. At first, I thought him and his wife or his partner were the parents of Wendy,
Yeah, she's
but
like
they're more of
trained
just
that-
like paternal figures guiding her through this process and this new experience that she's
Yeah.
going through. Yeah, I thought he was great. He hasn't done much in the episode that I've seen. He's kind of been just providing information to the audience as to like what it is that the corporation does, what it is that how to like the conscious transfers to the body, to the new body. They have a really dope sequence when they transfer all of those little kids, like the Lost Boys.
That was so cool.
Wasn't that cool when they go like from
The camera just rotates
OG.
and it goes from one to the next. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
really nice sequence there. This is something that I'm going to continue to watch. I feel like it drops at an interesting time, which is like mid-August drop. Usually these things come out in the fall, but
Yeah, they beat the fall rush, right, with this one.
yeah, definitely. And I think it's being well received. This is like one of those properties where Alien has become one of those where like now you kind of have to be careful with it because there's an audience that's really paying attention. And I feel like, and maybe you're part of that audience, Pedro, but I feel like they landed this the right way so far. Scott, is this something that you're going to continue to watch, or like what's your interest level in a show like this?
I'm watching it from the perspective I don't really know anything about the Alien series of movies, so I'm watching this just with fresh eyes, and I definitely am interested in watching the second episode to see where things go, and the third and fourth. I just think, but still, it's a lot for it to drop with 2 episodes in a row. So
Yeah,
it
they do
depends
that
on
now a lot, I think, just to get you like invested.
now. When you watched it, I watched it from a recording when it was on TV. Did you watch also? You watch it with commercial breaks, or did it go straight through from beginning to end?
I don't recall. I don't remember if it had commercial breaks or not.
Yeah, I don't remember. I watched it on demand like an hour or two after it came out.
I mean, was there
Yeah,
dips? Did it dip to black?
I think
don't
for me, it had done that. It might have just dipped to black and then came back. And that's because I didn't watch it live. You know, I watched it on Hulu, but I watched it after it debuted a couple
I'd be
hours.
curious. I'd be curious if it's a different viewing experience if you're actually watching on Hulu, because particularly like the commercial ad-free version, because there's no point for it to be commercial breaks, but because they're deliberate, it's like black. It's the usual FX technique where they go to black and then the audio just sizzles out for like 2 seconds. It's
Yeah.
just a style.
Was
that
there
they
anything
have.
you guys did not like about this show?
Other than the aliens biting people and killing, but it was bloody after the fact. But other than that, I was able to see through that.
There's nothing I dislike that stood out in a major way. I did notice at one point Wendy's character, after she sort of changes body, and I think there's like a mini montage of her like exploring her new body. She's just like chilling on like the edge of a mountain, but it's like one of those flat face mountains where the ocean is below. And I was just like, it starts off as a close up, and then the camera goes wider and wider, and you see the scale of the mountain. And I'm just like, so can she fly? Does she have super jump? Is she like a super climber? It's just one of those shots where it just made me ask silly questions that I didn't want to be thinking about. And then shortly after that, she jumps all the way down and she's fine. So she's kind of like a superhero, and that I'm worried about. I don't want this to be a superhero show where at the end it's just like these synths fighting aliens in the street. you know.
I think the hybrid body that they gave this child basically has sort of like, superhuman strength somehow. Like
It does.
there was a shot where Cavalier or somebody threw a ball at her and she just like caught it really fast. She
Yep.
also like just she went to like a paper cutter and like just broke the like blade off. Like,
Oh
really,
yeah, made it into a sword or something.
yeah. So they have some sort of altered strength.
Yeah, they do. I just don't want that to be
I agree.
the final scene where it's just like a superhero shit fest on screen.
Yeah, you don't want like one of these characters like fighting an alien and like ripping its head off or something.
No, yeah. So that was my only concern for a few minutes in that scene, but I feel like the show will be okay. You expressed
with me, the one thing I am being picky about is the fact that right now all these characters in this crew are all kids, and I'm hoping that sort of after this procedure of them being uploaded to this hybrid body, that they sort of like mature at a faster rate, because I just think it's silly to have this crew in this super dangerous situation where now they're going to be hunted or hunting aliens, and they're just 11, 12-year-olds that like you saw there were like scenes where they were like playing around or like lying on their back and just being silly like kids. Like I don't want to. I don't want to see anymore. I'm hoping that next episode they say like, oh, they reveal that like the maturity and like development of the mind of these hybrids just like takes a like fast forward phase or something, and they get to like where they're supposed to be.
They did.
That's just a little silly to me right now. Like you can't. I don't want to see the whole season of these
like them growing up.
Not even growing up. I just don't want to see an entire season of these characters, being 11, 12 years old.
I think they addressed that a little bit in terms of just the adults monitoring the kids because they were going through this huge adjustment of maturity. I'd have to go back and revisit that scene, but it was definitely a conversation where they questioned like the mental stability and all of that. What happens to the mind when you sort of go through that process. It was in there, but yeah, it can be a little goofy if it's not done right. And then I guess long-term you had addressed like what this thing is. Is it a one season story? Is it, like what does this become ultimately? Like, do they have an ending planned for it?
I hope so. I'm hoping it's like a one season thing. Then they take a break, let the story settle in, move on to the next movie, Romulus 2, that's in pre-production, and then decide if they want to continue the story further. I don't want this to be like, oh, we're gonna get like, 8 episodes and like 10 seasons of Alien, and just like the thing that makes it special, just like getting washed away with all this content.
So it seems like this is being called a TV series, not a limited TV series.
Which is what worries me, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I haven't read any interviews with the creator. He seems to have a pretty clear vision for what he wants to do, and also like how this might integrate with the new films as well as the old ones. So I feel like it's in good hands. And FX, like they make really good stuff.
Like Shogun was their most expensive taking before this, right?
Yeah.
How many seasons did that have? Was that 2 or 3 seasons?
That was 1 season, and I think they greenlit season 2.
Yeah. So it might be something where like they drop a season, they leave it open, and then take their time making the next one. Because this from what I'm reading, they started principal photography in 2023 for this show. Wow. So it's a big investment. It takes a long time. I don't expect it to be like that they crank out seasons, but I also don't want it to be something that's like a never-ending story,
Yeah, there are 8 episodes planned from what I can see. Obviously season 2 is going to come down to the success of season 1, and then take it from there. But I do expect more of this. But who knows? They can do Alien Earth and just have and just make it an anthology. They can have different stories. Like they can completely wrap up this story, come back in 2 years with a fresh story, perhaps. Or creatively, there's a lot of things that they can do. I think it's very early to see where the show goes. I don't know enough about this season to even comment, but yeah, I get it. You don't want to get it. You don't want it to be like watered down and just be like, oh, it's the alien. I don't know, like sponsored by Coke or something. It can get bad. But I definitely recommend Alien, man, because it's one of those shows where it is, yes, there's a lot of money being spent, but it's being spent well. Like these guys spent this money well. It looks really good. The actors are great, even though most of them are on the younger side. Recommend Alien Earth on Hulu, on FX, and probably Disney Plus as well. It's everywhere. Let's talk about Smoke. Smoke is that show that I did not expect us to be talking about, but here we are. Scott, you dropped out of Smoke pretty early, I want to say.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we are talking about it, but I'm
Why are we talking about
Because it
it?
ended up being a really good show, man.
Well, I like that you two think that it is at that caliber, which is good. That means they produced it for a reason, and hopefully, your points of view are not too foggy.
Pedro, you were like, I hope they don't make season 2 of Smoke. Was that before you watched the finale or after?
Yeah, that was before I watched the finale because I felt like, things were boiling to a point where we were going to get answers and clarification on everything. And, I didn't want them to. The show's full of twists. There's a lot of twists that happen in different episodes. And I wasn't sure if they were going to give you another twist at the end of the season to open it up for a second season. But I just felt satisfied by the time I got to the finale that,
The finale.
I didn't need this story to continue. It's good the way it was, unless they want to examine other arson investigators in another time and place and turn it into some true detective thing. But I hope that doesn't happen. I can see them trying to milk that.
Yeah. I like they spent a lot of money on this finale, just on that one scene driving through the fire and the wildfire in the woods and the crash and everything. I feel just reviewing the finale real quick and the events that happened. So I feel like the beef between Dave and Michelle, I don't know why they have so much beef. Because their lives are intertwined through, they're both chasing this arsonist, which is Dave ultimately. But it's all petty lies. It's not, they didn't really stab each other in the back, or they weren't each other's main villain, I feel like, for them to have this much anger toward each other. Am I wrong on that? Did I miss something?
No, that sounds accurate.
They go on this.
Everybody hated each other on this show. No character liked any other character. Nobody was friendly with each other.
It was a lot of,
even the people in relationships with each other hated each other.
That's true.
All the time.
And I was just about to say, one of the things that we talked about early in the season was that none of the characters were likable. And actually read a quote.
And it turned out they weren't likable to each other either. That's crazy.
But I read a quote from the creators when he says he finds likable characters not to be interesting. So I was like, okay, so this was by design that these guys are all kind of assholes. But at the end, yeah, they're both just horrible people. They're both just horrible people because she ends up killing Stephen Burke, who's her lover and her boss.
That came out of
That came out of nowhere.
Crazy.
She's
twist.
she like hits him in the trachea. I guess breaks his trachea. Is that this bone here in your throat? Scott,
Yeah,
Google that.
she caught him in one of those throat areas that'll kill you quick.
Yeah, like the James Bond karate chop, but to the throat. And this guy basically chokes and dies. And then she's just like, I'm just gonna burn the whole house down with you in it, and then plant a little glove so it makes it seem like Dave set this fire. Which I thought was like a little bit of an exaggeration, but okay. Like that's what characters on this show do. They turn like an accident into a horrible crime. Oh, Scott, you're sharing you're sharing your screen now. We're seeing the anatomy of the neck here, the trachea. Okay, yeah, I was right. But yeah, they're all kind of bad people. And then so she tries to frame Dave for that, and he's at home watching TV. He's like, "Hey, I didn't do that." They end up getting him because he get into a car crash and he stashed like his disguise in the glove box, and they find the glove box with his disguise. That's ultimately how they arrest him. And he basically, it's revealed that like he's not who he thinks he is. Like he's been lying to himself the whole time. You know, he's always like the hero. And I think in one of the earlier episodes, we see a reflection of him. And for a second, we see like what he actually looks like. Did you guys pick up on that? When he's like a little bigger, a little balder, less attractive.
I didn't know they showed that in the earlier episodes. I thought this was one of the big like reveals in the finale, was that, you know, that's how he actually looks like. But this is like the character. What we've been seeing is the character he's been writing about.
Yeah, it's like how he sees himself.
But if they teased it earlier on, that's great. I didn't catch that at all.
It was just a quick scene after he gets into that car accident in the hospital. But then they never address it again. So what they actually, you know, when he sees himself in the mirror here, he actually sees himself for who he is, which is just like a horrible. I mean, he looks fine. He looks like a normal human being. He just doesn't look like the attractive guy that he is.
Yeah, there were a lot of little like clever things they did with this show. I remember in the episode where we see him, he's at a bar flirting with this woman, and you know, they're kind of like telling each other they want to hook up with each other, and then, you know, she just says something like blah 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 about your ex-wife, and that's when you realize like, oh, that's his ex-wife he's talking to.
Yeah.
But they didn't tell you that up front. The scene just started and it looked like he was talking to someone he didn't know. So they do little clever things like that throughout the show. I thought those things like really worked. And what made me like the show and stay interested in it, even with what we said back in our first review of this when the show debuted, like that there's little silly things about it. The show doesn't know whether it wants to be serious or comedic. And that stuff wasn't working, but you know, it's the, like you said, it's those things are what actually makes the show different.
Yeah, it kind of has this like quirkiness to it where it's not polished, but the characters are kind of unique enough. Like the milkman arsonist or the milk jug arsonist, for example. Like I literally had a hard time every time that dude was on screen, just because the way he was talking, just this like ghost of a voice almost.
And then every episode they bring out a new element to the show that like will just keep you going to the next episode. So they keep it from being stale. You know, like halfway through the season, Esposito, right? That's and he turns out to be a huge
John
part of this investigation. And like, you know, like 2 episodes in or whatever, they reveal what's his name, Fasano, the milk jug arsonist. So like, yeah, every episode they keep bringing something up that's
and
going.
They also tell you that Dave is the other arsonist pretty early on. They tell you that pretty early, and
that was great that they did that, because you know, you got a twist like that early on, and you're like, okay, there's gonna be more twists to this.
Yeah, and that also made me question, like, how's the show possibly going to end? Because he's the main star of the show. If he's the villain, he has to go down because what he was doing on the show is pretty horrific. Like, you can't just get away with that. And speaking about season 2, I thought they did a great job. Like, they perfectly set up season 2. Because going into the penultimate episode, I was like, where can they go? I guess they could just put him in jail and the story ends there. But what they did is, because Michelle framed him for killing Steve, and who's, a high-ranking detective, season 2 would be, if they do it, I think would be David's trial, basically, like him on trial for that murder and the other arsons. It would be Michelle dealing with the fallout and the investigation into Steven's death. It would be Benji, her brother. Remember, he stole the footage from the neighbor's house, and he also set that huge fire. And also, you got Michelle's mom going out of prison, finally, like, being let out of prison.
He set a fire. What fire did he set?
He set the huge forest fire at the lumber yard.
Oh, that was him?
Yeah. So they did that to distract from the other fire. Remember, she calls him and he's like driving a truck. She calls him from a burner phone.
Yeah, she calls him to call in a favor. I thought it was just to like get the footage from the neighbor's camera and stuff, but I didn't realize you did all that, because that was their backyard was like those woods, basically.
Yeah, but he then calls the neighbor and he's like, hey, this is Detective whatever. He makes up a name and he says, you see that fire on TV? Like, it's better you stay where you are. Don't come home. And then he goes and steals the footage. So there's all that into season 2. But then the other thing is, there's that mysterious lab fire from that science lab, that's like, to me, that's going to be a new arsonist who set that one. Because that was like, it was a fire that was started remotely from a different location. They've been like, oh, this could have been started from a lab because someone hacked the facility and messed with the temperature that ignited the fire. So I think there's so much that can go into season 2. If they do it, focus it around like a trial and Dave being in prison and constantly like people going to visit him and questioning him. And then Michelle being potentially squeezed and investigated about Steven's death. And who knows what's going to happen with her brother. Like, a lot of cool stuff could be in season 2, I think, if they haven't renewed it yet. But all of a sudden, we got some hot shit coming out. How's that? It's a lot of stuff, bro, that they built up to, and it's just like too much to finish.
Yeah, there's a lot of directions this can go in.
Yeah, they did a great job, and this all happened in the last episode, essentially. Like, other than the mom getting out of prison, they've been sort of alluding to that for a while. But everything else really just happened in that last episode. And it perfectly sets up a season 2 if they do it. I know the creator said this is originally a 3-season story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's like, if Apple wants to go 3 seasons, this is a 3-season story. He did not confirm whether this was going to be picked up, though. But even if it doesn't, it was still a pretty good, interesting show. You don't get a lot of stuff on like fire, even though there was not much fire investigation, to be honest. There's just a lot of fire. It's a pretty good show.
Yeah, it was different. It was unique, It wasn't your normal homicide detectives or crime detective story.
And there's like literally a fire in this city every single day, like a really dangerous fire every single day. I don't know much about arson or arson investigators, but I feel like you don't hear a ton about fires.
What's with there's no fire prevention, initiatives in this town? What is going on here?
You would think there would be when you have.
Well, that's one of the things that make the show quirky and that's one of the little nitpicking things that you're just like, oh, that's a little ridiculous,
I'll be a little suspicious about this fire inspector. It's like, what are they inspecting? That everything is going up in flames. What's the point of inspecting anything?
It was
what are they doing?
in one scene, in one day, there was 3 fires. There was the lab fire, the sawmill fire, and the detective's house fire, all in the same day, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a busy. You don't see a lot of fire trucks in the show either. It's just mostly ash and blaze, and this guy showing up. But yeah,
I thought Egerton, as the show went on, his like acting really picked up, and it culminated in that interrogation scene in the final episode.
yeah,
I thought like that. I thought, you know, I haven't seen much of him in other things, but he really showed his flexibility in acting with that.
but
And
didn't
how far he can go? That was really good.
But I agree. But didn't in the first 2 or 3 episodes, his acting just feels awful. But then,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it picks up as the show goes on. Like his acting gets better and better the more like crazy he gets. You know, he goes from like this regular guy that's just an arson investigator to like playing this like deranged, really killer because he killed people.
he
And
burned the dog.
arsonist. Yeah, and you just slowly see him like lose it and just become more maniacal, man.
But I
And
think
like,
what threw me off was, I think to your point, he was always the maniacal guy. It's just that when you start off like that, you're like, this guy, is the acting bad, or is this guy's just weird? And then you realize, oh no,
You don't
he's
get
just
it at
big
first.
time weird. Yeah. It's like, oh, because he's the hero. Like in his mind, he's the hero. But when you start watching the show, he's the hero, right? He's gonna solve the fire mystery. So you're like, but he's like a weird kind of off-putting guy. So it's good that they tell you that he's actually the villain in like episode 3, because then the rest of the show just feels a little bit more balanced with his character being so strange. That was a nice touch I didn't really appreciate till you just mentioned it. But yeah, it was pretty cool. The rest of the cast is really good too. We see that chick from Veep is also here. She's one of she's like Steven's number 2. John Leguizamo shows up midway through the season. And then like even the arson's chief guy, I don't know his name, but like you've seen that guy in a bunch of stuff. So good cast. Very good cast. Except Michelle. I felt like Michelle's character, I don't know, man. I didn't really buy that, but she didn't bother me. But what did you think of?
She was more hateable as the show went on, and then when she killed and like covered it up, it was like, man, she's just as bad as he is, you know?
Yeah, that's when she shot that dude twice. Remember, she shot that dude's legs off in like the 2nd or 3rd episode.
Yeah, she set him up. She set a couple people up on the show.
Yeah, she set a couple people up. Fucking shady. So yeah, I recommend Smoke, man. We recommend Smoke. Go watch it. It's on Apple TV. It's 9 episodes, and it goes by fast. It's a weird little show. Hopefully they come back with season 2, because I think I'm all about it now. Scott, you should finish the show.
It's one or the other. He'll stick with Aliens.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if you'll stick with Aliens, because we're going to be following that. And then we might do a Twisted Metal series finale review as well, because that show's freaking awesome. But yeah, we'll leave it there. Make sure you leave a comment. Let us know what else we might want to watch or talk about on the show. Subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Also, do you believe in aliens?
Yeah, if you believe in aliens and you live in New Jersey,
or any other part of the country,
Or if you just want more aliens,
or the world, anywhere, do you believe in aliens anywhere in the world?
peace.